Hey y'all, this is my review for The Real World Homecoming New Orleans, episode 3. I know a lot of y'all was anticipating this review, and I've been trying to practice not to curse too much to get this video demonetized because this episode, if you're a black person, you look at it through a different lens, and it can be very triggering and enraging. And me watching this all over again, which is kind of stressful. I took an edible just for this occasion. So as the video goes on, you notice I'm getting woozy or whatever, that's why, because I'm a little high. But yes, I just took the edible before I hit record. So I should be good, at least for the first 30 minutes. So yeah, let's get into this episode, shall we? Side note, I love the intro. Come and be my baby tonight. Come on, be my baby tonight. They really remixed it. Sweet dabble dee, come on, be my baby tonight. Yo, look, he was going off on that keyboard. Shout out to Tokyo. So we left off on a really interesting cliffhanger of Julie just being belligerent and being kicked out of the bourbon pub. You have Melissa trying to talk some sense into Julie, saying we need to go home, trying to give her water. Julie's like, I don't want to go home. I don't want. Melissa, girl, get out the way. Leave her at the club. This is the producers and castings issue. Thank you, Melissa. Y'all old. And I can say that because I'm old. Like, we too old to be on TV acting a damn fool. Like, Julie has 2 kids and an ugly husband. So it looks like Danny wants to stay and he's taking a long time to get into the Uber. And then Julie literally charges back into the club and rushes up the stairs like a maniac. Just so the bouncers can kick her right back out. And it looks like production trying to get her out too because they don't want to get held liable for this dumb white woman to get hurt. The rest of the cast are being frustratingly patient with Julie, especially Tokyo, who's been trying to help her the entire night. We see Danny trying to come in and it looks like production's trying to get them both into the van. They're like, oh no, y'all done for the night. I wonder what time it was when they were at the club because it would be really messed up if she got that drunk in less than 2 hours. It can't be past midnight and they leaving. So now Julie finally decides to get into the Uber, like she falls right into the seats. I am enjoying Melissa through this moment. She is judging the hell out of Julie, and rightfully so. She is a hot, drunken, tawdry mess, and I feel sorry for anybody that's related to her. Julie is just passed out in the back seat, looking like she will vomit at any second. Oh my God, so the car pulls up to the house, and Julie's just leaning against the door. She falls flat on her face on the sidewalk. That looked like it hurt. She hit her face bad. You'd think it knocked some sense into her dumb ass, but later in the episode, you notice that it didn't. Where is production? Like, she could have cracked her head open. It looked like she kind of guarded her face as she fell because it looked like smack, like right into the pavement. Tokyo and the rest of the cast are genuinely concerned for her at this point because she can really hurt herself. She then tells Tokyo, I can walk, let go of me. Then she shoves Tokyo and tells him to get away from her, and then she runs dead into the tree. And here she goes, like, get away from me, get away, don't touch me. This raggedy dog-faced heifer. Y'all, the clock is still ticking. I still can't curse as much as I want. And Tokyo is being such a good person right now. Even though Julie shoved him away, he follows her upstairs and escorts her to her room. So they finally get her ass in bed. We see Matt creep out his room and the look of concern on his face. It's like concern and confusion. It's hilarious. Melissa, being the saint she is, she grabs a wastebasket in case Julie has to vomit. Look, I would have went into my room, got me a water, brushed my teeth, took my contacts out, and went to sleep. We breaking the fourth wall and the executive producer's already in the shot. He's making sure that this chick doesn't die of alcohol poisoning. Oh, poor Melissa. I think she stepped in Julie's vomit. See, that's what we get for helping people like her. Oh, so she throwing up. Oh my God. Oh! The wastebasket falls over. Oh my God. And they keep zooming in on it. Why, production? Fast forward. I accidentally paused and I can still see the vomit. I feel like Vicky now. Whoop! Whoop! I need Matt to shut up. He's like, oh, this is why I don't go out to drink. This was all Julie's fault. Everyone else had a good night and conducted themselves like grown-ass people. Tokyo is still taking care of Julie, making sure she's okay. I hate production right now. The cameramen are following the vomit as it oozes down the hallway. And no, you're not about to play Sade. to this raggedy bitch vomiting on the floor. Really? Y'all gonna disrespect Sade's song like that by your side? I wanna fight already. They didn't even get to the part that's gonna make me angry. They really playing Sade. They wrong for this. Somebody needs a gas chamber for this shit. I bet she smelled like tuna fish and dog hair. In this moment, you definitely see there was a change in Tokyo. This is a completely different person. This is not David from the original show. Okay, Tokyo, I get that you helping her out, but why did you sleep right next to her bed? She'll be fine, and then she just vomited there. I mean, I see that you got a towel, but nah, I'm not about to sleep on no hardwood ass floor. And what if she throw up again and you right on the floor next to her? This is just being nice to a fault. Oh, the New Orleans skyline. Ugh, I miss home. I need to go soon. So it's the next day. We see the cast members around the house. Julie's just out and about in her bed. Like, she starts doing yoga, like as if nothing happened last night. We see her going to confessional. Last night, I slept great. You know, I threw up and then like I just feel better and I'm about to do yoga. And then we see Danny, who's like hungover in bed, looks like he got hit by a bus. Julie also says in her confessional, I really don't drink like that. I've only drank maybe 3 or 4 times in my life. And then we cut to Melissa talking to Tokyo. Oh yeah, that definitely ain't the first time she's been like that. And I agree. They're both shocked that she is just up bright and early doing yoga as if nothing happened last night. Side note, Tokyo, I'm gonna need you to retire that drum major jacket. Please, burn it. This dizzy bitch really in her confessional just pretending like she didn't make a fool out of herself the other night. I'm just really like, she's just making up her own narrative. So next we see the castmates talking. I didn't know Danny had a kid. So it looks like the whole cast has kids with the exception of David, unless he says something different. Because everyone else has talked about their kids so far. And speaking of kids, the only kids I feel sorry for are the ones that belong to Julie. Damn, it really sucks that Danny really just can't stand Paul these days. It looks like Paul did him dirty. He says the only reason he stayed in that relationship so long because he said it felt like gay America was like looking up to him, like some sort of beacon. I guess I underestimated how popular Danny was back in the day. And he was extremely good looking. He looked like he was straight out of a boy band. Danny says him and Paul have not spoken since 2006. And it looks like he cheated on him with one of his best friends. I wish I could say that wasn't common, but that is very common in gay world. So then they show us some never before seen footage of Danny and Paul from the old show. Danny updates his roommate on how his life is now. Like he's since then had a daughter with his ex that he separated with. I'm guessing he's single now. So we see Danny texting Paul to come meet him at the house to talk. And I'm guessing Paul is still in New Orleans after all these years? Damn, I'm guessing he still has his number after 15 years too? A little later, we see Julie going into Melissa and Danny's room, and she tells Danny, oh, look, did you do that to me? Did you do that to me? He's like, no. And then Melissa's wondering like, oh, what's wrong? She's like, you know, I love Tokyo, but look what he did. He could have did that to me. After the one person that helped her in this house, that's what she remembers about Tokyo? So I'm guessing she's recalling when Tokyo picked up and hauled her ugly, sloppy ass out the club, and she's attributing that to the bruises on her back. That literally could have came from anything, and immediately we cut to Melissa in the confessional, and she's about to say, hold on. I cannot believe you're not leading with gratitude to this man who helped your drunk ass out and trying to attribute your bruises to what he did. Are you serious? After you fell out the car, ran into some bushes, that's what you remember? Like Tokyo grabbing you and hurting you? Does she not see the optics? Of course she doesn't. Of course she doesn't, because she's a fucking moron. Thank you, Melissa, for these receipts as production is going through each one. The nerve of her. The nerve. Like, I'm done with her. Like, I tried to give her some grace with the whole Melissa thing, but now she gonna do this to Tokyo too? Fuck her. I understand that he was trying to take care of me and I love him for that, but he cannot touch me. They should have left your sorry ass in the club, in the street. So later on, the whole cast leaves the house to go to the French Quarter, and the first stop is Cafe du Monde. Like, that's the famous one that's right on Decatur. I'm not a beignet person. Like, I remember when I was in high school, because I would have to cross through Decatur Street all the time. Like, I would go to the Krispy Kreme rather than Cafe Du Monde. I honestly feel like beignets is like a tourist thing because they already sell the Cafe Du Monde boxes in the supermarkets in New Orleans. My mom would just make them. It would make no sense for us to go to Cafe Du Monde. Honestly, I've only been to Cafe Du Monde, maybe I could count on two hands how many times I've been in my lifetime. So they're all sitting and talking, and then Danny brings up last night how he hasn't been in a bar in 2 years. Julie is saying how much fun she had, and she felt like she was in a safe space. That's why she was drinking so much. She thought it was going to be really sex-driven. Sex-driven for who? Nobody wants your ass. Even if you was in a straight bar, nobody would have wanted your ass, okay? Let's get that clear. Like, I don't know why she came with this sex-driven energy. Nobody wants you, girl. Be happy with the cousin you married. So then when Danny tells her, yeah, you don't have to worry about anybody touching you, she's like, oh yeah, well, except for fucking Tokyo here. Oh my God. At that point, I would have threw my beignets in her face, and I hope they were hot. David is flabbergasted at this moment. She says that, oh yeah, I mean, you can be drunk, and I was totally fine on the dance floor, but you don't have to forcibly touch me. Roll the tape back. Roll the tape back. You were falling on people. You were on the floor. You could barely stand up. Your eyes went in the back of your head as you were just swooshing all around. Oh my God, this revisionist history she's doing is really peak Karen right now. And it was pissing me off. And Melissa's looking at Tokyo and she's like, ooh, you look like you stewing. David looked like he wanted to curse this bitch out. And I would have. Thankfully, David is a different person and he's grown. We cut to David in his confessional and he's saying like the optics of that and what she's accusing him of. And that's the one thing she remembered from the last night. So then they don't get to talk about it at the table. I think she just tried to brush it off as a joke, but we know it's going to come up later. Poor Tokyo, he looked like he was really bothered by that. I would really feel some type of way because he was coming from a really genuine place. So they're all headed home and we're in Julie's car and she's talking to Kelly and Jamie and she's like, look what he did to me. Look what he did to me. Like she's complaining about him. She's telling them that Tokyo manhandled her. Manhandled her. And Jamie, and I also see Danny in the car, they're not saying anything right now. And you cut to Jamie in his confessional, he's like, well, he know it couldn't have been Tokyo because she was a hot ass mess. Like she was falling all over herself. Jamie, why don't you say that in the car? Tell her that. Like that ungrateful bitch. That sorry, ungrateful, stanky, Karen ass bitch. Jamie even says in his confessional that if Tokyo didn't pick her up, he would have picked her up. And that's what Tokyo should have did. Shouldn't have even bothered helping Julie when she like did this to him or smacked the water bottle out his hand. I would have been like, you're on your own, bitch. Find your own fucking way home. She is trying to make herself out to be a victim right now. I was drugged on the floor. Girl, you could get drugged across the coals of hell for all I care. Kelly is silent. She's silent and she wasn't there. She's not agreeing with Julie. She's not egging her on. She's just listening to her. And she knows Julie is full of shit. So we're in Tokyo's car now and he's talking to Melissa and Matt. And he knows exactly what's going on. And Melissa peeped game. She peeped game as soon as she saw Julie talking to Danny. Tokyo looks genuinely like bothered and upset by this. And I don't blame him. Like that is some backstabbing right there. So we get back to the house and conveniently, Julie and Tokyo are already on the patio. So he tells her, I think we need to have a conversation. And here she is just smiling on the couch like she just didn't backstab this man who helped her throughout the night. Tokyo leads the conversation off with, I think you need to make sure you don't get that drunk again. And then she's talking about some spiritual journey shit that she had where she's in a place where she can do that. She don't think she was that bad. She's completely trying to rewrite what happened that night. And he's reminding her what happened. Do you realize how belligerent you were? She had the nerve to ask him, are you sure you weren't being overprotective of me? Yep. I think that was the point. That was the point when I was just like, fuck that bitch. Fuck her. Like, ooh. She's like pretending like she's some sort of victim right now. She's telling Tokyo, you were the only one there touching me. No one else was touching me. And then she tells him what he should have done in the first place. She told him, you gotta let me be, man. You gotta let me be. Unfortunately, Tokyo was being a good friend and he wasn't realize the sludge piece of shit he was dealing with. So he decided to take care of her against his best judgment. David is educating the audience about optics and what Julie is doing in this moment. Like, she's using all these type of words like forcibly grabbing me, touching me, dragging me. Like, I'm surprised she didn't use the word assault. She's really trying to make it seem like she felt unsafe by this black man touching her and invading her space, when that's what she was actually doing, invading other people's spaces by being drunk and belligerent. He's calling her out on her bullshit right now, and she's like, well, if I was so belligerent, why were you around me? Like, let me be in the gutter. If I fall on my face, let me fall. He was like, no, you actually did fall on your face. There was no if. You did. I don't know why she's so intent on twisting this narrative on Tokyo right now. He already called her out for contriving situations where you're throwing the other person under the bus. Like, he clocked her immediately. And now that she's being called out on it, she's getting more aggressive. So Tokyo's continuing to tell Julie how drunk she was and telling her the truth about the situation. She then, picks up her salad, slams it down, yells motherfucker, and charges out. Not really sure what that meant, like she's trying to make herself a victim. But yeah, she charges her olive oil looking ass back into the house. So next scene we're with Danny. It looks like he's about to meet up with Paul, his ex, who he hasn't seen in over 15 years. The whole reason Danny scheduled this meeting with Paul is for closure. And he says this conversation is really going to be tough for Paul because he's the one that cheated. Ooh, so we see Paul coming up to the door. We don't know what he looks like yet. They just have the back of his head. Okay, wow. Paul does not look the same at all. It looks like two different people. I wish this was more messier production, like on Bravo, and they could give us a side-by-side. Like, whose Cuban uncle is this? And then the porn star mustache. Lord. And also looking at Paul, it's only been, it's been 22 years. Is he 60 now? I would imagine he was the same age as Danny. But Lord, it looked like he went from 20 to 60. Not Danny saying you look like a pimp. So Paul explains his reasons for showing up. He just wanted to see if, Danny was good after all these years. And Danny was like, well, I would have appreciated if you came to me sooner. And it looked like Danny is ready to let him have it. Paul didn't expect Danny to call him out on Front Street in front of the cameras. So they're both just reminiscing about their relationship at the time. They're not arguing or yelling about the fight, but they're having a grown conversation. That's the boring route, but it's the right route. They are really just reminiscing how toxic their relationship was. Just looking at this conversation, it made me think this is probably the conversation me and my ex would have. I haven't seen my ex since 2007. So yeah, it would have been, 15 years since I've seen him. And if I saw my ex and we were together, I would clearly, be the younger looking one because I've seen him on Facebook and he's aged and he got a little fat. So after their chat, Danny and Paul hug it out. It looks like they, both got the closure that they wanted. And yes, production for this song, my sunshine has come and I'm all cried out. There's no more rain in this cloud. That's Angie Stone, right? So later on, next scene, we're with this dirty bitch, Julie. She's in the hot tub. Probably making stone soup as she's sitting in that fucking tub. She's complaining to her cousin husband, how boring her housemates are. She's in the hot tub alone. They all go to bed early. And clearly you need to go to bed early because you look terrible for your age. And she's literally complaining about each of her cast members separately. And she's talking loud and it looks like Melissa can hear her talking to her husband from the hot tub. Oh, there go Melissa. She's like, I know this fucking bitch ain't talking about me. You know what? I would just listen too. I wouldn't even confront her. I would wait till the perfect time to confront her ass about it. And she's talking about all the house guests. She's saying that she's trying to make good TV. So she was trying to get drunk and sickly like that on purpose? Yeah, she ain't shit. She ain't redeemable. I'm trying to figure out how there's any type of way, if it's possible, she could be redeemed by the end of this season. I don't think so. And we just see Kelly and Melissa just listening to her conversation. Wow. And then we catch her saying she tried to flirt with some of these guys and they're not taking it. Wow. Kelly looked like she's beside herself. She was just like, I cannot believe this. Wow, she is really going off on them. All they want to do is eat and fucking sleep. She need her ass whooped. Where is Coral? I see Kelly in her confessional talking about how weird Julie is, but I just want to see one moment where Kelly just loses her shit. Like, I would love to see it, because she just looks so... So it looked like it's the next day, and then we see David, he's really still feeling some type of way. And he's telling Matt and Jamie how uncomfortable he is. Cut to his confessional, he's just saying, being in Julie's space, he does not trust her. And I don't put it against them at all. So I was wondering, like, they share a room together. So that's the goal for David. He doesn't want to be in a room with Julie. And thankfully, Jamie is going to Julie with this information and just giving her a heads up. As Jamie's telling her, he's like, well, Tokyo wants to be in a different room. Don't make a big deal out of it. The real gag is no one wants to switch rooms with him. So that means no one wants to be in a room with Julie in the first place. So then their idea is just to put David in their other room. So it'll be 3 beds in one room and she'll just be by herself. And then Julie's trying to act all surprised. Did he say why? Why the fuck you think he wants to leave the room? So next scene, we're with Melissa and Tokyo talking outside the house. Melissa informs David of what she overheard Julie talking to her cousin husband about. She's saying this motherfucker trying to make a TV show. She sees what's going on and she acknowledges that I'm definitely going to speak up about it. I can't just sit by and let this happen to this black man. And in this moment, I'm just like emotional because in the old season, they weren't together at all like this. Like they were not close. But then now they're looking out for each other because that's all she wanted in the first season was for David to just have her back. Because she was uncomfortable in that house with those white people. Melissa was afraid to speak up because of how the optics might be on her. But she says she just can't stand by and just watch that happen. You're right, Melissa. She's missing a layer of humanness. We get a flashback of Real World Boston. Damn, I haven't seen that one in years. I never even seen it as an adult, and Paramount Plus don't have it. So then we get some never before seen footage of Melissa discussing race, and it sucks that MTV purposely took that out, but I'm sure it's from that Gator ride that the cast went on, and that employee said the N-word, and no one else cared about it or was upset. Like, Melissa was the only one that was upset. She was trying to explain to them what was the problem with it. And then Dave, he was all somewhere else. He didn't even have her back. Melissa was definitely speaking the truth back in the day. Like, I just didn't see all that as a teenager. I just saw, oh wow, like, she's really dramatic and, you know, the loud one, which she really wasn't. I was looking at it as a teenager. But as an adult, completely understand Melissa, and just like, I'm so fond of her now. She lives in New York. Girl, if you're watching this, can we please get a drink just somewhere? It would be on me. I know I think you live on Long Island, but come to the city, please. Oh, I love that Melissa has Tokyo's back. It's like she giving him a pep talk. So Tokyo is inspired to have a house meeting now, where he can control his own narrative because, you know, Julie's been talking to all of them separately. He just wants to make sure everyone knows his point of view and what's going on. And this is a total 180 for David calling a house meeting. And the irony, because on the older season, they called the house meeting for him. Tokyo has definitely come full circle. Lord, the dramatic music as they go back into the house. Dum, da, 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 dum, da, dum, da. Production, come on. They're not about to go to war. Melissa is holding on to that clutch, like that olive green clutch she had, the 8th cast member. Damn it, of course there's like 5 minutes left and they're all about to get into the living room to talk and they're gonna cut it off on a cliffhanger. I just know it. So David starts off the conversation by just saying that he's not comfortable right now and he's about to go into the club incident that happened that night. David says everything he did to try to help a friend was looked at in a negative way. Like you're trying to imply that I harmed you and that didn't happen. And now she keeps trying to interrupt him and say, oh, well, if you want a different bed, he's like, it's not about the bed. I'm wondering, why are you trying to create this narrative that you know it didn't happen? And then she tries to play stupid again, try to lack any type of accountability. And then finally, Melissa has entered the chat. Reads her Miranda rights, lets her know what she did, told her, oh, you fell this way. You ran into a tree. How do you know about the bruises? And then the next morning you trying to play like, oh, well, I was fine. But then the other night you said you were sloppy drunk. Is it Uchiwali or is it one mic? Julie's like, dup, dup, dup. Okay, Melissa, well, if you want to make it this 3, it's just 3. She's like, oh, no, honey, no. It's not even about me and you right now because my boundaries are high with you, bitch. She didn't say it like that, but, you know, I'm saying it like that for her. I'm a little high, too. She's like, the only reason I'm getting involved now because I can't sit by and watch this narrative of a white woman trying to say a black man physically harmed her. And I'm not about to be a part of that TV show. And then it's crickets. You don't see any of the other castmates saying anything. But I would appreciate if Kelly or Danny would step in or something to back up the 2 black housemates. Melissa was ready for Julie in that moment. Julie couldn't even say anything to defend herself. She knew she was wrong. But yeah, it's radio silence, and that is where the episode ends. I hate that it ends on such a cliffhanger. Like, I can't wait for next week. Julie is out of fucking pocket. Like, I cannot believe this. I actually liked this bitch back in the day. Like, who is this Karen? This is probably who she always was, too. But shout out to Melissa, again, the MVP of Real World Homecoming New Orleans. I love how she has David's back. I love how they have each other's backs right now. Because it's really pissing me off that the other white castmates can't also call Julie out on her bullshit. But yeah, y'all, this was a good-ass episode. They are 3 for 3. Like, this is some good-ass television right now. And Julie, you know, I think I did a good job in this video of not cursing too much. This weed got me now. It feels like a piano is behind my head right now. I'm just like falling and falling. But anyway, it's fuck Julie all day, every day. Going forward till the season is done, I'm done with her. Fuck her. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode in the comments. Please feel free to read Julie for filth. I will like the best insult of Julie in the comments. This is a Julie roasting session. Fuck that bitch. Anyway, make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all for the next video. Bye.